Today, we are going to talk about kitchen safety and how we can stay safe in the kitchen while cooking. Before we talk about some strategies on how to be safe in the kitchen, we first need to understand why we need to be safe in the kitchen. Sometimes cooking can be dangerous. When we're cooking, we use things like knives and we're using a stove which might have an open flame. These can cause cuts and these can cause burns. So today we're going to discuss some strategies on how we can prevent these cuts and these burns from happening. Some necessary steps in staying safe in the kitchen. The first thing that you need to do is get permission from a parent. You should never use anything in the kitchen, not a stove, not a microwave, not a knife, before consulting a parent first. If your parent does not give you permission to use the kitchen, you should not continue cooking. Make sure that you receive verbal permission from your parent before you begin cooking in the kitchen. Once you receive parent permission, before you start cooking anything, you need to be sure that your sleeves are rolled up as so that they are not hanging in your food or over an open flame. You need to be sure to tie your hair back. This will prevent any loose hairs from falling into your food or into whatever it is that you are cooking. And lastly, you need to remove any loose clothing. Loose clothing hanging off of your body could catch fire over an open flame, so it is very important that we're wearing things that remain close to our bodies, as so that we are not causing any fires. Before touching or handling anything in the kitchen, it is very important that we wash our hands and dry them completely. When washing our hands, we need to make sure that we're using soap and water and that we rinse all of the soap and water off of our hands before we start drying them. This is important as that we do not contaminate any of our food or any of the utensils that we're using with germs. Now we're going to talk about use of the stove. When touching anything that's on a stove, it is very important that you use oven mitts. Oven mitts will prevent your hands from becoming burned on a hot surface or on a hot pan. So it is very important that we use oven mitts when we're taking anything off of the stove, out of the oven, if you have a hot dish in the microwave. These will all help you prevent burns. Secondly, you need to use both hands when you're picking up a hot pot. When picking up a hot pot, if you only use one hand, you might drop it on the floor. So it is very important that you use both hands, because if you drop a pot on the floor, your feet might become burned. Do not reach over an open flame. This could cause your sleeves to catch on fire. And when you're done cooking, make sure to turn the stove off when you are finished, as so that no house fires occur. Now we're going to talk about handling a knife. We talked briefly in the first slide about why we need to stay safe in the kitchen, because sometimes when we're using knives, we can cut ourselves. So ways to prevent this would be always pick up the knife by the handle. Do not ever pick up the knife by the blade. That could cause a cut. When picking up the knife by the handle, make sure that you are not pointing the knife at anyone. These people could make a sudden movement and cause themselves to be punctured by the knife. Before handling a knife, it is crucial that you do receive parent permission or ask for supervision while using the knife, just as an extra safety precaution while cutting vegetables or cutting any food items that you might be using in the kitchen. It's also very important to keep your kitchen clean. We need to keep items far away from the stove while we're cooking. Say we have paper towels or dish towels that are too close to the sink, too close to the stove. They could catch on fire if they are too close to the open flame. So it is so important that we keep those kinds of items far away from the stove. If you spill some water on the floor, make sure you clean it up immediately. If there is water on the floor, it can become slippery and you might slip and fall while cooking, or somebody else might slip and fall. So it is very important that you keep your kitchen cooking station very, very clean. If you do burn or cut yourself for some reason, tell an adult immediately. Do not let your injury go untreated. If you continue cooking, if you have a cut or a burn, this could contaminate the food which you are cooking and could just increase the severity of the injury. So it is incredibly important that you tell an adult immediately and treat your cut or burn as soon as it happens. In case of a fire, you should call 911 immediately. After calling 911, you should inform an adult of the fire and then you should leave the premises immediately. If there is a fire extinguisher, allow the adult to use it. You should by no means remain near the fire. You should leave immediately after calling 911. I hope that these safety tips were helpful for all of you and that you will use them while you are cooking in the kitchen. If you have any further questions about cooking or cooking safety, please ask an adult or ask another teacher if you have any further questions. Thanks for listening.